a lot of them simply because there are a lot of issues that deserve a lot of time and attention. And I don't know if we're going to be able to do it all. So let's get started by doing some of the basics, very important things. Number one, if you are on Facebook, I'd like you to do what I'm about to do on my phone. And I want you to share with everybody that we are live. That is very important. And it's also important that you that if you are watching Facebook right now, that you're also making comments. We also always want to hear from you guys. When you guys are commenting, it's always encouraging to see what you have to say. I think it's always important for us to be engaging one another with these things that are so critical, and we are most definitely in a critical time. So we've got a lot to talk about. I keep saying that. I am going to share this right now with everybody, let them know that we are live. Here we go, and we are on. All right. We are good to go here on Facebook Live. And so if you are on YouTube, please do me a favor and come on. Oh, look at that. I just lost my light. Oh, there we go. All right. I thought I lost the connection to you guys. If you are on YouTube, please make sure that you are liking this and that you are subscribing if you've not already done so, but also hit that share button and make sure that you let lots of people know that we are here. It's an important time. I'm actually going to do this right now. While I'm live, I'm going to do something a little unique. I'm actually going to go on Instagram for just a second, and I'm going to let folks know, hey, we're live. Come on out. And I'm going to do that right now. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have them record me as we speak. I'm going to do that and let folks know, hey folks, check this out. I am live on the air right now, and I'm doing this live on Instagram to tell you that swipe up. We are going to be talking about a lot of things, the craziness that the mainstream media doesn't want you to know. Swipe up. Great stuff coming. God bless you guys. All right, and now I'm going to send it out to these guys, let them know. There we go. Sharing this right now. We are done. Look at that, you guys. I did that right away. That's pretty cool. See, I did it. You guys know this is important. We got to get people ready to rock and roll. Oh, you know what's really sad? I made that video and I did not even set up the link. So I'm going to go back. This is what happens when you get distracted. You see, all of this stuff happens when you're not paying attention while you're doing the live show. When you try to do this, I'm going to do this one more time because, I probably should do that. I should probably send the link to everybody to let them know that we're here and we're live. Just one second. Let me do this really quickly. Okay, let's go back here. All righty. Are we okay? Let's do this one more time, you guys. I know you guys are watching me get really dumb, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm going to add the link to the live show. Let me find the link to the live show. I got to find the link to the live show. That's not good. I'm doing this. By the way, while I am doing this, I also want to thank you guys that are super chatting. I think, Ophir, we just saw you do that. Thank you so much for your super chat. It is always an encouragement when you guys do that, and we always appreciate it. I will always seek to acknowledge you guys that are doing that as well throughout the show at some point. All right. Let's give this one more try. I'm going to try and do this one. Well, I'll try and do this again. All right, here we go. Story. Let's do this. Hey, everybody. I'm live right now, literally broadcasting right now. We've got some great subjects to talk about. Make sure you swipe up and join us as we have got a lot planned. We're going to talk about the mainstream media and everything else. Swipe up. There we go. Now I'm going to add the link. That would help. Okay, now we got to give them. And now they can swipe up. All righty. All right, now we're in business. Okay, so where do we start? How about I start with the premise? Let me kind of tell you what inspired this, because it is just unbelievably amazing what I have been seeing as of late and what's actually been taking place. Excuse me. I watched a special report recently. I'm not going to say what news station. It doesn't matter. Let me just say that it was a mainstream media news station. And let me say that they called themselves actually conservative. Now, without getting into further detail, I literally watched them, and I'm about as conservative as they come, but I watched them manipulate the facts regarding a particular story that I was well aware of in a way that was completely dishonest and in a way that put the subject matter in a light that would be beneficial to their objectives. Now, in this case, let me just simply say that the objectives of the establishment are objectives that always involve the furthering of their pockets, literally the lining of their pockets. They want to make money, and they'll do whatever it takes to make money. And so when they begin to have discussions related to news stories that could potentially affect what goes in their pockets, then, of course, we always have problems. Case in point, they've been talking about Bush Jr. as of late. And let me just make a few comments about Bush Jr. I will say that there were some aspects of his presidency that I undoubtedly appreciated. But there were many aspects of his presidency that were brutal. And when I say brutal, I mean brutal. Many people might recognize the fact that he was not strong on the subject of abortion. As a matter of fact, his wife was a pro-abortion activist. But that is not even the subject that I'm going to approach when it comes to him. The bigger issue is the war with Iraq that we jumped into with fake intelligence because he wanted to look tough. He wanted to appear to be tough. And I think he wanted to fuel the military-industrial complex that was being ran by the family business of his running mate. Now, I'm not going to get into the insane details with the inconsistencies of the report that was given to us regarding Bush Jr., but I will say that when we start talking about the decisions that he made for our country, there were many decisions that were poorly made that have since benefited the hardcore leftists that continue to do exactly what it is that they do. And let me take it a step further. He also fueled the family business of the Cheney family. What's the family business of the Cheneys? The family business of the Cheneys is war, military, and all that other kind of stuff. Now, I want you to understand that when it comes to everything else that we are looking at around us, it all goes back to the selfish desire that they have to make money, to build the power base, and to do the things that they have always wanted to do. Now, it is disappointing to me to see people who are supposed to be conservatives, people who are supposed to be on the right side of history, not saying a word about any of this and certainly not fighting any of this. Don't get me started on the situation as it relates to the election of the president, because there were many people that were bragging about voting for Joe Biden. And to that, I would say, how's it working for you now? It is interesting to see how things continue to go. And we need to be thinking about the importance of the loss of freedom that we are beginning to see right now at the hands of Joe Biden. Now, I will give a congratulations to the many attorney generals that are right now filing lawsuits on behalf of their states and on behalf of the people of their respective states, fighting against the mandates of these vaccines. It's a very, very good thing that they're doing that. By the way, the median, thank you so much for your super chat. You say this, you say, if a bill is put into law, Wisconsin will join the fight against the vaccine mandates with Montana. The bill was introduced back in February and March. And the median, we hope and pray that they will do that. As a matter of fact, I think, in my opinion, there will be many, many states that will follow with what the great state of Montana actually did. And I do definitely applaud the state of Montana for doing that, because once again, I am not anybody who will ever encourage any loss of freedom at the expense or in the name of health and safety. I think that that's absolutely absurd. I think that we have lost the mindset in this country that says that freedom is actually worth taking risks for, that freedom is actually worth putting ourselves to a point where we are willing to give up certain comforts and we are willing to give up certain benefits in order to have the benefit of freedom. I do not believe that it is ever right for anybody to be mandated to undergo any procedure of any type. It is very interesting to me to see how the mainstream media continues to demonize those people who choose to exercise their freedom by saying, I'm having a conversation with my doctors, I'm looking at the science, I'm doing some research, and as a result of those conversations, I have decided I am not going to undergo this procedure. I was talking to a man from the Long Beach Unified School District, and we ought to give attention to these people. We ought to speak up. If you have a free moment, you ought to contact the Long Beach Unified School District. Because I heard that they walked into a teacher's office after a teacher refused to disclose whether or not he took the vaccine. And based on his refusal to disclose whether or not he took it, he was told that he only had a few minutes to clear his room and was escorted off campus. I'm not joking, folks. He asked for a written policy that explains how they escalate things like this. They would not provide it for him. They told him, you are going to be now on admin leave, unpaid admin leave, by the way. And he told them, I want your policy and procedure. How did you come to the conclusion that now I'm supposed to be on unpaid admin leave as a result of what I'm supposedly doing or not doing? You don't know. I haven't disclosed anything to you. And they said, we'll provide it for you, but we don't need to. And they still have not provided anything for him. Tell me, is there any illegality in that? What in the world is the Long Beach Unified School District thinking when they're choosing to do something like that? This is crazy. Listen, I am not an anti-vaxxer. Don't ever call me one and don't ever identify me as one. I am not. But what I am anti is I am anti-socialist. I am anti-communist. Now, I have made the decision personally, as well as my wife. I'm not even going to say, why should I even talk about this kind of thing? Why do I have to be able to justify my position to choose or not to choose to do something? This is crazy. Everybody knows where my heart and my mind is at. And the bottom line is this. The bottom line is we have an obligation to be obedient to the God who created us and to stand for biblical principles. We should not, in the United States of America, be persecuted for living out our religious beliefs. It's kind of interesting. You know, if a Jehovah's Witness, this is astounding to me. If a Jehovah's Witness believes, for whatever reason, that they don't want to have a blood transfusion or some kind of a medical procedure. Nobody has ever put them under fire for doing that. They've been free to be able to make medical decisions based on that, even if it means death for them. But now all of a sudden, they're saying, nope, you don't have that kind of freedom anymore. You need to do exactly what we tell you to do, or you won't be able to buy or sell or any of those other types of things. Folks, that is the pure insanity that we are living right now. That is the craziness of what we are facing from day to day. I do not understand, nor will I ever understand the mindset or the mentality of the person who says that this type of thing is acceptable, to force anybody to make a decision or not make a decision. It's absolutely crazy. So where did it all start? And we've talked about this. We've made it very clear. It has always been a problem based on what has been going on in the classroom. There is a level of indoctrination right now going on in the classroom that is so significant. And as long as we continue to allow this nonsense to take place, you guys, this is crazy. As long as we allow this to continue, we are going to face this again and again and again and again and again. I'm going to show you a video of what I'm talking about because this is absolutely insane. And listen, we need to really get our acts together, you guys, because if we don't start talking about this stuff, if we don't start speaking up about this stuff, if we don't start taking a stand over things like this, our children are going to be given to people like this. I want to thank Charlie Kirk. I want to give him the credit for allowing us to use this video. But take a look at this nonsense. This is so interesting to me. And notice how she's doing this under the cloak of, well, I want my students to be able to have the freedom to think on their own. I really want them to be able to think on their own. But that's not what she's doing. She is looking very clearly, very, 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 very clearly, to just completely demoralize the free thinking ability of their students by how she sets everything up. What she's about to do is she's about to show you how she sneaks in critical race theory into her students' class. Teachers like this should be fired. That's my bottom line. They should be fired. But let's take a listen to what she has to say. It's actually quite sad.
So this comment was put on a video that had absolutely nothing to do with politics, but let's dive in because teaching is political. The education system, the curriculum, school zoning, funding, standardized testing, all of these things can create and further lead to class and racial inequalities and impact life chances for our students. Especially as a history teacher, my students deserve somebody who is going to confront and challenge the injustices and untruths that are in our history that have led to discrimination. So yes, teaching is political because as we develop curriculum and have conversations with our students, equity and anti-racism need to be in the forefront of our minds, as well as giving our kids the means to gather factual information and form their own opinion. But this is wildly different than indoctrination or propaganda because I'm not trying to sway my students' opinions. I want them to form their own educated opinions. What I'm doing is challenging a broken system and hopefully laying the groundwork for progress and justice.
Oh my goodness. I am laying the groundwork for progress in justice. That's what she's doing. So she's basically saying this: I want your children to be able to have the freedoms to say whatever it is they want to say or believe whatever it is they want to believe. But I want to create the box in which they live when they say those things. In other words, I am going to limit the scope of what they can say or what they can't say. That is exactly what she is talking about right here. Folks, we do not have enough teachers or parents, for that matter, that are speaking up when this kind of nonsense is taking place. This is getting completely out of control, and we should never allow it to happen. It's amazing to me how the mainstream media will look at people like this woman right here and will actually praise her for what she's doing and for what she's saying, when in reality, she should be strongly condemned, because what she's doing is seeking to brainwash your children and my children. We need to stand up. We really need to stand up when people like this do this type of thing. We need to take control of the education of our children. And we need to be actively involved in speaking against the evils that are associated with this thing. Folks, the days are getting darker and darker and darker and darker. I don't know if you've seen it, but the way that the media has been spinning, here's another subject, the way that the media has been spinning the issue of abortion. Folks, if our children right now, as we speak, were educated about the truth of what abortion was, we would never be in the position that we're in right now. There wouldn't even be a question in the mind of anybody. No way. If we just were simply given a basic lesson in science and taught that a heartbeat of a baby shows up as early as anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks, typically about 6 weeks. Most abortions take place long after that time period. If we could sit down and explain to people the reality of what happens when a baby is torn apart, this would not be an issue. But yet we have teachers, I assume teachers like this one, who will sit down with somebody in the classroom and basically say that this isn't really a human life, that this little baby that's inside the womb of this mother is actually an extension of this woman's body. Forget the fact that we're talking about different DNA. Forget the fact that we're talking about a body that really isn't hers. It is inside her, but it really isn't hers. And how do you like the fact that this rapper, I don't even remember his name, can make a video where he asserts that he's a pregnant man, and that when he is condemned because men cannot get pregnant, people say, well, that's ridiculous. You can't say that to a man who identifies himself as pregnant. You can't say that a man can't bring birth to a baby. That's crazy. You can't do that. Yet, when a reporter in the White House follows up asking Jen Psaki, who supports this kind of thinking, by the way, hey, why are you guys acting this way with respect to Texas? Isn't this actually a real human life inside the womb of this mother? She says, you don't have authority to be able to make a statement on this because you are a male and men don't know what it feels like to get pregnant. Okay, so which one is it, Jen Psaki? Are you bigoted in saying that men can't say that they're not pregnant? Or do you simply recognize the ability for man to be able to comment because theoretically, according to your rules and the way you look at things, men can get pregnant? Which one is it? I mean, I wish I got credit for looking like I'm pregnant, but I'm not. No matter how hard I try, can't have a baby. Look like I'm about to have a baby, can't have a baby. So which one is it? How about the whole my body, my choice thing? That's what they run out. Oh, this is my body, my choice. I should be able to do with my baby anything that I want to do with my baby because it's my body. Science behind that is ridiculous, but hey. But yet, there's no my body, my choice when you're making me take a vaccine. See, the hypocrisy here is unbelievable, and this is exactly the insanity that exists. Folks, let me just say about the way God operates on things, okay? You should probably know this. God honors free will. He honors free will so much so that if your free will leads you to hell based on your rejection of Jesus Christ, God will let you go to hell. He will. He honors your free will that much. Why? Because freedom is God's idea. It's not man's idea. Why do we let politicians get away with the things that they do? Why do we let them get away with the things that they say? I think of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's one of my favorite ones to pick on because she might be one of the most unintelligent human beings that have ever walked through the doors of Congress. Yet, she has become sophisticatedly good. Sophisticatedly, is that a word? I could use it. At being able to frame a radical and extremist position that almost always gets people in trouble. It's interesting. I never play videos where you have somebody that's being interviewed on CNN, but I thought that this video would be a fun one to actually play because this is very interesting how Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez begins to frame certain terminology. Now, in this video, I'm just going to give you a little bit of a sort of I don't know what we'll just call it a little bit of a preview. But in the video that you're about to watch, AOC can't decide. Well, this is a woman. This is a woman who's supposed to be leading our country or helping to lead our country, making laws in our country. AOC cannot decide if babies come from people who give birth, women, or any menstruating person. Just to know the difference. Now, here's my question. If you can't be able to effectively discern the difference between terminology like that, how on God's green earth should I be able to trust you to make decisions for our country? That's an insane proposition. How in the world can you do this effectively? And I think that's a legitimate question to ask. But watch this insanity. Watch this craziness. And by the way, the news clip that you're watching right now is part of this insane tirade that the mainstream media went on to put down this Texas law, which I don't think they're going to be successful in doing so. But it's amazing how they're framing this as women being persecuted. If you want a picture of women being persecuted, let's hit the fast forward button and run over to Afghanistan and take a look at what they're doing to women in Afghanistan at the hands of one Joe Biden. If you really, really want a good picture of what that looks like, you can go do it right there. You can find it right there. But listen to what this person has to say. And by the way, before we end the day, we're going to talk about the election that's coming up in California. We need to do that. Putting a reminder to myself and to my producer. All right. Let me play this video without further ado because this one is just ridiculous. Let's play the video.
When we talk about the law that was passed in Texas, we know that anti-choice bills are not about being pro-life. Because if they were about being pro-life, then the Republican Party would support, frankly, an agenda that helps guaranteed health care, that helps.
I got to stop her because I have to tell you how good this evil, satanically inspired woman has become at lying, right? They're not really pro-life. They want to even jack that name from us. Because if they were pro-life, well, then they would be all about getting women health care. Wait, hold on for a second. Abortions create all kinds of medical problems in mothers. Not to mention it creates a serious medical problem for a baby. How about the babies that are females that are being completely ripped apart physically? She's a manipulator and a liar. We, those of us that are pro-life, we are pro-life from the womb to the tomb. Don't let anybody tell you anything differently. Don't let anybody make that argument for you. I despise the mindset of an arrogant and evil woman like this woman who would make a comment like that. When I have two precious children that were given to me by a courageous woman who chose not to abort her two children. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Let's go on listening to what she has to say. But just know when she says these things, she's a liar and she's good at lying. She's very good at lying.
For, frankly, an agenda that helps guaranteed health care, that helps ensure that people who do give birth that don't have the resources to care for a child can have that care for a child. So we know that none of this is about life.
What a liar. None of this is about life. Okay, can we just talk about Catholic charities all in all? Listen, I don't agree with the Pope. I think the Pope has kind of lost his mind, but let's talk about what's going on with many of these Catholic charities. There's a whole huge, radically powerful movement amongst Catholics to not only save the baby's life in the womb, but to care for these women. Let's not even, look, the Catholics are doing a remarkable job in this area. But how about we talk about the hundreds and thousands and potentially millions of parents that are waiting to adopt children openly, who are more than willing to pay for the health of the mother and to support her through all of the difficult things, help her get a job, do all the things that she needs to do to be able to live better and to find a better life. She's lying. She says we don't care about any of those things when in reality we spend more money, time, energy, and effort to fight for these things than any other organization in the country. And let's just get this right. Let me just simply explain this to you. The most racist organization in the country right now is the party that she gladly represents. She herself is an incredible racist. She doesn't care about the health of women. If she cared about the health of women, she would not try to kill them before they came out of their mother's womb. She would not support a procedure that is so intrusive that an overwhelming majority of the time, it permanently injures the woman to not even be able to give her the ability to, in many cases, have a normal, healthy life. This is the insanity of what this woman is talking about. She's a liar. We as Christians are far better equipped to help a woman from beginning to end than any of these people are. Remember, her partners in crime want to support Sharia law in the United States of America. You understand what Sharia law does for women and women health care, right? She's a liar, folks. She's a real liar. And notice the lies, just complete lies that she tells. It's absolutely unbelievable. Let me rewind to a phrase that she said that I should focus on. Listen to this.
That helps ensure that people who do give birth that don't have the resources to care for a child can have that care for a child. So we know that none of this is about life.
So we know that none of this is about life. She's hijacking the term. Wait, you mean to tell me that none of this is about life when you actually are advocating dismembering a baby's body from within the womb of the mother? None of this is about life? Nothing? No? She's crazy, folks. Like, you understand. I just want you to explain something. I want to explain something to you. If you want to know what crazy looks like, you're looking at it right there. And it has nothing to do with her buggy eyes and the crazy pitch of her voice. It all has to do with the demonic words that flow from her mouth. She's nuts, folks. This woman is crazy. Listen to what she goes on to say. By the way, none of this is about life. Can she be more reprehensible of a human being? How disgusting is that? None of this is about life, even though I'm advocating for the killing of a child. Grunkle Cashy, thank you so much for your support. God bless you. Here we go. Let's watch this.
None of this is about supporting life. What this is about is controlling women's bodies and controlling people who are not cisgender men.
Can I ask you this question really quickly? What does it mean to say controlling a woman? Am I controlling a woman's body by basically saying that she cannot be invaded and have a baby ripped out of her womb? I think it's more controlling of a woman's life when you put her on a bed and you subject her to having a baby ripped out of her womb. How about we give more control to women's lives when we say, okay, you're not equipped to take care of this baby. Let's make an adoption plan and let's give this baby life. Let's allow this baby to live a full and whole and productive life. And then let's break the generational lines of wickedness that exist in your family by giving you the help that you need to get better, to walk right, so that when the time comes that you're able to have another child, you're able to take care of that child yourself. Oh, and by the way, if for whatever reason you make the mistake of having another child out of wedlock, we'll be here to help you make an adoption plan there too, to take care of that little baby. Why? Because there's a lot of parents who want to take care of those babies. If you think I'm lying, you can have a talk with me and my wife. The greatest thing that ever happened to me, besides knowing the Lord first, then marrying my wife second, was having my two precious daughters come into my household because of a courageous woman who chose to keep my precious daughters and give me the joy and honor of adopting them. I love my babies. Everything I do is motivated by the Lord for my wife and for my daughters. If you don't think for a second I don't care, you think for a second I could care less about women's rights? I fight for them every single day because I have a house filled with one woman and two little girls who will become women. This woman is a liar. She's a complete liar. Listen what else she says.
Bodies and controlling people who are not cisgender men. This is about making sure that someone like me as a woman or any menstruating person in this country can...
By the way, this was the whole reason why I actually played this video, was to show how absolutely absurd and inarticulate this woman actually sounds. Let me just rewind what she just said here. This is just crazy. Let me rewind it just a little bit again. Here you go. Listen to her.
People who are not cisgender men. This is about making sure that someone like me as a woman or any menstruating person in this country...
Me as a woman or any other menstruating person in this country. If you think this sounds all confusing, wait till you hear some more.
Cannot make decisions over their own body. And people like Governor Abbott and Mitch McConnell want to have more control over a woman's body than that woman or that person has over themselves. And what that shares what that shares.
Can I ask you a question? I want you guys to answer this. Maybe you can answer this in the comments. But which woman has more control over her body? A woman who subjects herself to being put literally under general anesthesia and then have something precious ripped out of their womb? Is there more control in that? Or is there more control in nurturing a little baby that's inside a little precious life. Who has more control? You literally knock yourself out for a little while somebody goes in and invades your body and rips something out of your body that God put there. Who has more control? Is the governor actually making anybody do anything with their bodies? You understand how ridiculous this argument is, you guys? You understand how foolish this argument is? It's crazy. Think about the mindset here.
Culture is that sexual assault is about the abuse of power, and sexual assault is about asserting control over another person. And the ease with which these men seek to do that to other people is atrocious. It is morally reprehensible.
Isn't it amazing how she's now going to a sexual assault argument? First of all, if she's referring to rape, let me just say this. If she's referring to rape and children being born out of a rape that just takes place, or women being impregnated as a result of a rape, it's less than 0.5%. Let's just say that. And then here's the question that I would ask regarding that. If a woman is raped, which if you ask my opinion, if you rape a woman, you ought to be killed. That's what the Old Testament did. I think that if somebody rapes a woman, they should be hung. That's beside the point. It's just my opinion. But answer me this question. Let's assume we all agree on the fact that a rapist should be killed after they've raped a woman. Is there any reason you could think of why I should kill a baby because somebody got raped? Why should I kill a baby as a sentence for the action of a rapist? Tell me, how much sense does that make? Now, if she's implying that it's a sexual assault to make a woman, not even make a woman have a baby, to keep a woman from killing her baby, now we've gone to a whole new level. But that's what she seems to be implying. Folks, I said this at the beginning of the show. It's in the show note description. The mainstream media, academia, and everybody else is going out of their way. They are going literally out of their way to destroy anything that resembles that which is truthful. If that which is truthful goes against that which they think they need to deploy in order to control you. That's the reality of what we're facing. Listen to her as she continues on with her lying rhetoric.
To other people is atrocious. It is morally reprehensible, and they cannot even begin to understand the agonizing decisions that people have to make, including in cases of miscarriage, rape, and incest.
So, including cases of rape, I just discussed the issue of rape. Incest, that percentage is even lower. Again, I get raped. I'm a woman, I get raped. The rapist should die. I agree. It's reprehensible. But why should I kill my baby? Why should the death sentence extend towards a child? Why should it extend towards an innocent child? You tell me. Why should that be the case? I think she says miscarriage. Did you notice she said miscarriage? Let me rewind that real quick.
Will have to make, including in cases of miscarriage, rape, and
correct me if I'm wrong. If you miscarry a baby, you're not having an abortion by removing the baby if the baby is dead inside the womb. Correct me if I'm wrong. Am I missing something here? Am I missing something? If something doesn't go right with an actual pregnancy and the baby dies, did we now change the terminology to an abortive procedure when you're actually removing that precious life that died already in the mother's womb? Is that an abortion? Think about this for a second. This is crazy. But this is what they do. They take terms and they conflate those terms. And under her definition, if you deal with the after effects of a miscarriage, it is considered an abortion in her mind. So then now she's conflating the issue of caring for the health and the well-being of a mother who just went through a horrible miscarriage to a person who says, I want to kill a baby just for convenience sake. Now you tell me. How's that work? How on God's green earth is that made right? Listen to what she continues to say.
That people have to make, including in cases of miscarriage, rape, and incest.
Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio.
I am disgusted by behavior like this when I see this type of behavior. It bothers me to no avail. Excuse me. Folks, words matter. And the reality of it is, we should not let people get away with doing the things that they do when they say things like this. Because this is how the mainstream media works. They are good at doing this. They are good at lying. They are good at not telling the truth. They are good at continuing to draw a picture. Think about this for a second. They are good at drawing a picture of things that are absolutely not true. Now, it's amazing to me to see how there is a completely insane double standard that exists amongst these people. But folks, that is precisely the world that we are living in right now. That is the place that we are in. It breaks my heart, by the way, when I see people do this type of thing. It breaks my heart when I see people twisting terminology so that they can make it for their own benefit. It's absolutely crazy. It's completely crazy. And we cannot tolerate this nonsense anymore, you guys. We cannot continue to allow this kind of stuff to happen because it is purely wicked. And the wickedness that is associated, completely associated with the actions of people who only care about themselves is destroying this nation. And it will continue to destroy the nation. Yet while we have a president who says he's being told what to do and everything else, I don't get it, you guys. We're in a world that's getting darker, and we live in a world where there's a media, in my opinion, that continues literally to communicate lies in order to be able to propagate their own agenda. All right, let's do this. Let's take some questions. If you'd like, I'd like you to put question in all caps. And then provide your question to me. By the way, I think that later on today, we've got a very special live update for you. It'll be at 4 p.m. I'm not going to tell you about it until we're there, but you're definitely going to want to tune in for that. It's going to be a very special edition of Live Update, I promise you. I also want to just say one very quick thing. If you live in the state of California, make sure you vote yes to recall the most tyrannical governor who has ever existed on the face of this earth, and then make sure that you vote for Larry Elder. I think that Larry is going to be the guy. It's just my opinion. I think Larry's going to be the guy that's going to be the only person that has a chance of beating the governor, number one. And number two, although Larry may not be a believer, I don't know if he is or if he isn't, I can tell you this right now. I can tell you that he is going to be on our side of history as it relates to all of these things. So I know that he's going to put an immediate moratorium on all this nonsense with all of these requirements that are going on, these mandates and so on and so forth. So most definitely what I would do is get your head in the game if you are living in the state of California, and get over to the polling place and vote. It is so incredibly important. Okay, let's start getting to some questions. Patricia, you've got this question. Are children of an unsaved person raptured? I think that depends. I think if you're talking about an infant or a toddler, very likely they may be. It's hard to tell. I don't know. There are some people who make very good arguments for the fact that they would not be raptured because they're living in a home of ungodliness. And now, if they were to pass away at that young age, I'm almost certain they would be in heaven. But I think with respect to being raptured, I don't know. That's a whole different ball of wax. Kind of a tough answer, or kind of a tough question to answer with respect to that. Okay. Whoa, my goodness, there's so many questions that are passing by. Okay. Question, Lori Sanders, you ask, Pastor, will your conference from the church on the harbor be live? Maybe. We don't know yet. We're discussing that. We may live stream it. I don't know for sure. But if we don't live stream it, then we will make them available over the next week. We will start publishing those Bible studies, and hopefully you'll be blessed by those Bible studies. But no matter what, they will end up on YouTube and all the other places eventually. We'll make sure that we actually do that, okay? Okay, let me see here. Beth, I'm not going to completely word the question the way that you've worded it here. I'm just going to offer it up. And it basically says, you make a comment about voting right now, and you sort of ask how we can make sure that voting is, as it was designed to be. Well, it's really simple. You got to get involved. You've got to be willing to be a monitor. You've got to be willing to report inconsistencies if you see any. You have to be willing to open up your wallet, your time, your voice, and you've got to get involved and invest in these things. Which, by the way, if you do see any inconsistency that takes place with the election in California, you can simply go to electelder.com and you can report it. And so it's kind of a good thing. Let me see here. End Times, thank you so much for your support. God bless you. You guys that are doing these super chats and super stickers and all that, thank you so much for that. You guys are amazing. God bless you for your support. It's very kind and, of course, very generous. Okay. Let me see here. Deborah, you have this question. Do you have a signed religious exemption form for federal employees that we can use to turn into the Navy? Our exemption letters have worked for the military. So what you can do there is our moderator will contact you and give you an email that you can send your request to. And of course, we'll do whatever we can to help you. It's very important to us that we do help you in that respect, with that respect. Okay. Okay. Sovereign Mind in 1969. You have a question. You say, how can you prove pre-tribulation? I cannot find any scripture on it. Actually, very easy. 1 Thessalonians. Excuse me. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, chapter 5, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, the transition from Revelation chapter 3 to chapter 4. And then there are several others that you can go to, but those are some really good ones that will give you a good understanding of the timing of the rapture, which of course will be before the tribulation, okay? And again, these are the time periods that we're dealing with. It's very good. I would highly recommend that you go through my teaching on Revelation, the book of Revelation. I do an extensive job there, as well as 1st and 2nd Thessalonians. I have studies for that, all available at CalvaryChapelSignalHill.com. So thank you. That's a great question. All right, let me see here. Let's look at some other questions because I know we've got a lot of them. Question, Sandy B., you have this question. Will we remember our family in heaven? I do believe we will. I'm almost certain of the fact that we will, and I think that that can be established in the scriptures. And that a lot of that goes back to King David when his baby died and some of the things that he said when that had happened. Then there's other things that would give us an indication as well. Okay, Ashton Perez, here's your question. How do we love our neighbor when some want evil? It's a supernatural thing. We ask God to give us the supernatural ability to actually love our neighbors. And I think that's the thing that we need to do, is ask God to have that ability to be able to love our neighbors and to give us the strength to be able to overcome. So that's how I would answer that question. It's actually a very good question. Okay, here's Ray Ann Wolf. You're asking, do you believe that we are seeing the global beast system being created by this vaccine as an excuse? No, not really. I don't think that that's the case at all, but I do think that the removal of our freedoms is a mechanism that's being deployed to get us ready for this system. That's what I think. So I think the idea of you can't buy or sell without taking this vaccine, I think is an open door for everything else. That's kind of what I believe is going on. So, people will be used to not being able to buy or sell without showing some sort of a passport. Well, by the time we get to the Antichrist and the mark of the beast, the concept of not being able to buy or sell without some kind of credential is not going to be a foreign concept anymore. And I think that it will prepare us for that in that sense. That's what I think. Beth LeBlanc, thank you so much for your support. Sorry if I ever sound gruff. I appreciate and love you very much. I know you're a passionate fella. I don't know what you're talking about, Beth. Did you say something gruff that was earlier? I don't know. I missed it. Maybe my moderator can send me something that you said, but I have a feeling that whatever you told me is probably not going to be taken by me as gruff because, well, you know my personality. So, excuse me, don't mind that at all. Do not mind that. Okay. Let me see here. Okay. Jammin' B, you say, what does the generation that shall never pass away mean? Okay, so I think you're referring to the Matthew chapter 24 passage, and I think that what Jesus was talking about in that passage were signs that would accompany the second coming of Christ, right? So he was talking about I think the first sign that he mentions in Matthew 24, the first real tangible sign is when the Antichrist sets himself up in the temple and demands to be worshiped, right? Remember, Jesus is talking to respect to Jews that reject him, right? These are people that do reject him as a Messiah. They're going to be left behind in the tribulation. And he says, when you see that sign taking place, hey, that generation is going to see the second coming of Christ. They're not going to die out until they see that second coming. So I believe that's kind of what we're talking about there. It's a really, really good question, by the way. Thank you so much for that. Let me see here. Okay, Denise, here's your question. Did you ask Jack Hibbs to post on Telegram? I have no idea what you're talking about. No, I'm not even on Telegram, so I actually don't know. Have no idea. If he's doing something on Telegram right now, I don't even know that he is. So, I don't know anything about it. Okay, let me see. Maybe we'll get one more question and then we'll wrap it up just to keep things a bit consistent. Let me see. Let me look through this list. I know there's a whole bunch of questions that just flew by very quickly, so I got to go back and grab them. Okay. They say aborted babies will be reunited in heaven. If mom is saved, will they be babies, do you think? Probably not. They probably won't be babies. I could be wrong, but I don't think they will be. But, I have no idea, number one. And if a baby, let me make this straight. Any baby that's aborted, I think, is in heaven. I really do believe that. I'm almost certain of that fact. Now, there's a lot of, points back and forth. I just think that in reality, what we're talking about here, when we look forward and we look to see what's going to be taking place, there's a lot that we just don't know. So, but I do believe, based on the precedent that I've seen in the scriptures, that it might be of that case. Okay, Justin, you say question, any signs of the direction of this election? I'm almost certain, and I could be wrong, but I'm almost certain that we're going to see Gavin Newsom removed from office. I'm hoping and praying that that's the case. I think that it's looking pretty good for that. The pollsters lie, and I don't really know what they say, what they're saying right now. I don't believe the pollsters. They always try to manipulate the voting by what they release, but I do think that he's going to be recalled. I think that, put it this way, I think that he's incredibly scared of the idea of being recalled, right? I just think so. So anyway, all right. Let me see here. You know what? I think that that's going to be it. Romans 16 v20. Sovereign Mind 1969, thank you for your support. I don't know what Romans 16 v20, I don't know what you're referring to. I know Romans chapter 16 verse 20, but I don't know what you're getting at. I don't know if you want me to comment on it. I'm not quite sure what you mean by giving that. Maybe it's just a verse that you wanted everybody to have. Because I believe that is the area where it says, be innocent in that which is good, be excellent in that which is evil. I'm almost certain that's the verse you're talking about. No, that's 16:19. Yeah, and the God of peace. Oh, you're just giving a word of encouragement. And the God of peace shall bruise Satan underneath your feet. The grace of our Lord Jesus Christ be with you all. Great. Thank you so much for that encouraging verse. Sorry, I wasn't able to discern. It's a blessing. You're right. It's an absolute blessing. Thank you so much for that, bro. I don't know if that was something you wanted me to comment on, but yes, thank you so much. That is a beautiful blessing. And thank you. Here's a question from Malcolm Reed. I will answer this. How do you allow God to bless you? You know, it's really simple. The most effective way to allow God to bless you is to just walk in simple and open obedience to him as much as you possibly can, right? Walk in obedience to God and watch God do the things that need to be done. I think it's very, very important that you just open up and allow God to do this thing. I think it's really, really critical that we just simply say, God, I'm going to live for you. I'm going to walk obediently with you, and then I'm going to let you do what you want to do in my life. And I think that that's how we do it. And that's kind of how it works. All right, guys. Well, with that, we love you so much. We've got another live update that is going to be coming at 4 o'clock. It's going to be a special one. Let's pray and ask the Lord to go before us. Father in heaven, we thank you, Lord, for this time. Thank you for these, your people who have gathered together in your name. Lord, we just pray that you would inspire us to live righteously for you, Lord. We love you, God. We thank you. We pray that you would go before us now as we seek your face. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, you guys, God bless you. We love you. Keep fighting the good fight. See you at 4. And by the way, the video that I'm releasing today got demonetized by YouTube. It's just amazing that it did. But this one's going to be a big video because the video is entitled, The New World Order Isn't Coming, It's Here. So make sure you watch that video. I'm releasing that at 1 o'clock. You guys are going to love it. God bless you. Keep seeking the Lord. If you are on Facebook or Rumble, that video gets released at 1:15. All right? Love you guys. God bless you. Keep seeking the Lord and keep fighting the good fight.